Yo, people, them 3 weeks later with the newly released MSI Claw A1M handheld gaming PC, let's get into this. Now, just for transparency, MSI did send this down to me for free so that I could give you guys my impressions on it and have a little play around with it for a couple of weeks. I'm not getting paid for this, and this unit is going back to MSI after I'm done with it. Unfortunately, innit? But I can't lie, using this over the past 3 weeks has actually been a joy, surprisingly. Now, starting off with design and build quality, the build quality is definitely there. It's like they're using some kind of tough plastic thing, which also does feel comfortable in the hand. So it's not like it feels flimsy, but I can definitely tell it's not mad heavy as if it was metal as well. Like, it should be okay to hold it in your hands for a couple of hours of gaming session. Well, as long as the battery lasts, really. And in terms of design, I'm getting ROG Ally, but in black, which is cool. Like, it literally does look like a ROG Ally in black. And the ROG Ally did look good as far as I was concerned. I wouldn't really mess with the source when it comes to making an ergonomic handheld gaming PC. Like the A1M Neo, I feel that looks like the best handheld gaming PC, but ergonomically, when you're holding it in your hands, it just doesn't feel as comfortable as you'd think it would. Whereas the Steam Deck now, I think looks absolutely ugly. But when you hold that thing, you realize why they've made the design choices that they've made. That thing is molded to fit in your hand for a long period of time without causing any strain. And I feel like the ROG Ally and this MSI Claw A1M hit that sweet spot of good design and comfortableness in your hand kind of thing, especially over long gaming periods. Now, I'ma just throw the specs up on the screen because there's already been so many videos that have talked about the specs of this console. But one really interesting factor for those of you that already didn't know is that most of the handheld gaming PCs like the Steam Deck, ROG Ally, the Lenovo Legion Go, they've all been AMD based. Whereas this thing, for me, is my first handheld mini gaming PC, which is all Intel based. They got the Intel iGPU there, one Intel Arc thing. And I know Intel Arc isn't really the strongest in terms of the options out there for gaming PC kind of stuff, but the Intel Arc graphics card stuff in here seems to be pushing its weight and doing at least what I need it to do. You get me? Now, one of my biggest complaints whenever I review one of these mini Windows handheld gaming PCs is the setup process, because you'd assume because it's a portable form factor, it would be as easy to set up as a Nintendo Switch, where you literally turn on the console, you do like one system update, you put in your details or you sign up to the Nintendo eStore and you download games from the Nintendo eStore. That's all you have to do because there's only one option for you to go and download games from. Whereas with these Windows handheld gaming PCs, the setup process is essentially as long as it would be to set up a new laptop, a gaming laptop or a gaming desktop, any Windows desktop essentially, which can take a long time because first of all, when you sign on and if you put in your Microsoft account, cool, you've now got to download all the Windows updates. Now, depending on your internet, that can take anywhere from half an hour to an hour plus. You get me? Before you've even been able to play games to their fullest capability. After you've downloaded the Windows updates, you then have to go into the Microsoft Store and download the Microsoft Store updates for the Windows apps on your device. Again, we're looking at maybe 10-20 minutes, half an hour to an hour, depending on how fast your internet connection is. And if you're like me, you also want to trim off some of the bloatware that they've got pre-installed on Windows operating systems that you just don't need to be on the device taking up space. I'm talking about your Microsoft 365, because why would you have Word, PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel on your handheld gaming PC? Unless you're trying to do the multitasking thing, I understand. But if you're not, I feel like as a default, it doesn't need to be there. So remove that off so you've got more space for games. After you've installed that, you now need to set up the MSI Claw application and make sure you connect all the gaming services that you like to use to the application. Now, luckily, the MSI Claw application, it brings all those gaming apps into one space. Like, it brings Steam, Epic Games, Ubisoft Connect. They're all in one place, so you can literally click on each one of them and start downloading whichever games you've got on whichever account. So it's not too bad. It does try to consolidate things in a type of way. However, it's still a much more long-winded way than it would be to download games on your PlayStation or your Xbox or your Nintendo Switch. And I guess when you see something in this form factor, you kind of forget that it's actually a PC that just happens to have a controller attached. Now, setup and all of that Windows nonsense out of the way, which really isn't MSI's fault, it's just the operating system that they've gone with. This is actually a decent piece of kit. I must start off with the screen, fam. We got 1080p, 120Hz, IPS panel. I feel that this is definitely the sweet spot when it comes to handheld gaming PCs. I would just like to see a lot more stronger processors that are able to push AAA games at more than 60 frames per second on such a clean, small display kind of thing at 1080p. That would be really wicked. So hopefully we are going to get more of that in the future. But at the moment, I'm very much happy with the brightness of the display, the color reproduction, everything about the display that's on this thing. Another thing that really shocked me, apart from the display, is the speakers in the MSI Claw, fam. It actually shakes the whole unit when it's making big explosions and stuff like that. It kind of feels like an almost force feedback kind of thing. You know, back in the day, you'd have these controllers that kind of vibrate when there's a sound happening on the game kind of thing. I don't know if you guys remember those. I think they were from Mad Catz. They were for like the Game Boy and stuff like that. Yeah, them things were wavy, and that's kind of the situation that I get when playing games on the MSI Claw at max volume. I think the sound they've done very well for this, almost to the point where I don't really need to be using headphones with it unless I'm out and about in a really noisy place. Moving on to controls. The controls, they feel very good. They're very clicky, they're very responsive, and they're literally in the same place as the ROG Ally's controls, which, yeah, people might say, oh, it's copycatting, but because I've already played with the ROG Ally, they feel right at home and they land exactly where my fingers are without me having to like contort my hand in a mad kind of way like you do with the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. Obviously, they're not detachable, so the controllers that you get with the system are the controllers that you're stuck with, and if anything goes wrong with them, you need a whole new system, whereas stuff like the Nintendo Switch and the Lenovo Legion Go, you can technically just get more controllers for them, even if the controllers go bad. But these controllers feel quite good. Played a couple of fighting games on them. The D-pad seems to be good enough for that as well. Not that I'm a pro at fighting games, but yeah, done alright in Tekken and Street Fighter. Yeah, all the other buttons feel nice and responsive, especially the analog triggers at the top. Now, in terms of performance, the power in this Intel chip and iGPU sits between the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, like somewhere between there in terms of strength. Definitely stronger and faster than the Steam Deck, but not as fast as that Z1 Extreme chip in the ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go. That thing is crazy for the size of the unit, but this thing is pretty much able to play most of the games I've tried to play with it, as you have been seeing in the B-roll kind of things. Like, not like I've been having any slowdown, it's just that if I did play this game on the ROG Ally or on the Lenovo Legion Go, I would get more frames per second or be able to turn up the graphics a little piece more. Now, lastly, moving on to battery life and charging, it's now making sense to me why the Intel thing inside the MSI Claw isn't as fast and as powerful as the processor in the ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go, and that's because this Intel thing is clearly designed to sip battery, fam. you can have lengthy gaming sessions on this thing. I'm not talking 8 hours plus, but I'm talking you can definitely reach near Steam Deck levels of battery endurance with better gaming performance. And that for me is definitely a win. I think the Steam Deck is the gold standard when it comes to handheld gaming PC battery, reaching nearly 8 hours when playing certain titles. But if you're talking a title like Horizon Zero Dawn, a proper AAA title, you can definitely reach 3 hours plus on the MSI Claw. Whereas with my Lenovo Legion Go or ROG Ally, in my experience, you was looking around the 1.5 to 2 hour mark. So there's definitely an improvement and battery life with this Intel thing. I'm just wondering if they can get the performance up there with what is being offered on the ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go. Anyway, people, then this was supposed to be a quick video and I've been talking for like 10 minutes. The MSI Claw A1M definitely is a strong contender in this new lineup of Windows handheld gaming PCs. It sits between the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally Lenovo Legion Go in terms of power and performance and in terms of value for money. I'm still kind of team Steam Deck, but the extra power that this has over the Steam Deck is definitely an added value to it, as is the endurance with the battery life that this has over the ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe and like so I can catch you guys in the next one.